Thanks for checking us out on the Ticats Audio Network. A little bit of a special presentation here for you as it is Combine Weekend down in Toronto. And earlier this week, the President of Football Operations and Head Coach, Orlondo Steinauer, as well as Assistant GM and Director of Canadian Scouting, Drew Allemang, were made available to the media. And here is what they had to say earlier this week.
Well, I think that the good thing here, Louis, is that I'm surrounded with experience. Kind of took the approach the same way we did with the coaching staff. I wasn't afraid to hire experienced people that knew more, that had been doing it longer than I had when it came to the coaching staff, and kind of took the same approach when it came to, hiring people to really surround Drew and I, and that was with experience. So it's been, I'm not going to say seamless, but everybody's been on top of it. They really have. We kind of got a vision, and they've made it come to life. So I've been the observant, to be honest with you, Louis, and they've been knocking it out.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Coming in the other day, you kind of had to remember how to do the combine. But we're really excited to see them all in one place. From a competitive standpoint, see the best players all compete against one another. So looking forward to the weekend.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Dan Ralph. Please go ahead, Dan.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Drew, if I could pick your brain a bit. You have a player like Terrell Richards who hasn't played much. He didn't play any in 2021. How important is the combine for him in terms of opening eyes and showing people what he can do?
Yeah, I think it's important really for all players, but for his situation, it's a lot like some of the players last year that maybe didn't have a season. Just see what kind of shape he's in, and see how he tests and everything like that. So I think it's good for us to see him. We also get to interview him and kind of take it from there.
Are there any question marks behind his name just because of the fact he hasn't played since 2020?
No, we'll obviously look forward to interviewing him. But I think we do have a number of games to watch from him from that year, and they played later into November. So, it's a fairly recent film, but it will be good to see him here competing with everyone else.
Yeah, and last question, if I may. How much weight will you put on his test results this weekend when you evaluate him?
I think we put enough weight on anyone's test results, but it's not everything. I think it's important that they hit within a certain range for each position. But we've all seen it. The best players sometimes don't test the best. So, we'll weight it, but it's not like he has to come in here and be the top tester or something like that.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen, and good afternoon, Orlondo.
Oh, nice, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Next question, Justin Dunk. Go ahead, please.
Did you guys know that this GM, Kyle Dubas, was a Ticats season ticket holder for over a decade?
I knew that he was a season ticket holder. I did not know the duration, Justin. No, I can't speak for Drew.
I did know. I follow him on Twitter and know some people that know him, and Scott McNaughton that works in communications for the Leafs used to work with us for a long time. So I had a bit of a background with his Ticat fandom.
You guys ever talk team building with him or anything like that?
The first time I actually met him in person, Justin, was just before the Heritage Classic there. I was in the weight room doing some things, and he came storming through there. So it was nice with his son actually, and it was just nice to meet him. But I haven't spoke any team building personally with him. This first time I met him was just inside a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the one interesting note that kind of came out of that is the Ticats have the longest drought without the Grey Cup in the CFL. The Leafs have the longest drought without the Stanley Cup in the NHL. So, guys, kind of figuring it out together here. Is this the year for the Ticats and the Leafs?
That was the question. I don't know. I don't have a response, Justin. You got me. Good job.
I like their yellow and black uniforms.
There you go. Good answer. I'll save the
Thank
harder ones for later.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dunk. Next question, Paul Friesen. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, just a big picture question here. Just doing a quick poll. Big picture, future of the CFL. How sacred is 3 downs, or are we at the point where we look at everything?
Yeah, so I can just tell you, what's come out of our meetings here is we've just really been focused on how to make our 3-down game better, to be honest with you, Paul. That's exactly what it's been, and that includes the action of it and also the game flow. And so there was, everything was discussed, to be honest with you. That's transparent. Everything was discussed, but I could tell you that 98% of the discussion was based upon making our 3-down game better and the response that we've gotten from fans and everybody else.
Yeah, I'm looking out to see how personally everybody's married to 3 downs. Long term, like, how do you feel about it?
I don't have any comment on that. Like, I'm just here to, whatever we play, I'm here to coach. So
Yeah.
that's it. I'm not here to, I don't have an opinion on anything.
Oh, okay. Drew?
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it at all.
Wow. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Steve Milton. Please go ahead.
Hi, guys. It can be for either or both. And this may be more of a question for closer to the draft, but the two are interrelated, the combine and the draft. Are you looking at, has there been any change in philosophy in the manner in which you look at the Canadians? I mean, are you looking at best player available, and do you look at this weekend through those eyes? Or are you looking, I mean, you have some specific needs when I look at maybe depth at Canadian for this year. So do you look at it from that angle?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're always, obviously you'd like to address needs that you might think you have, but you can't always do that in every round in the draft. So, I think it depends. Like maybe near the front of the draft, you're looking to solve maybe a need and get the best player. But as the draft goes on, I mean, I think you're trying to look for the best player that can come in and offer competition to the players that you have on your team.
I'm assuming you feel the same way about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
And
said.
that's not really a change, right, from previous approaches in your organization?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Next question, Danny Austin. Please go ahead.
Guys, just to follow up on that a little bit, speaking to other gyms, they have said that it has made it a little bit more challenging, that there is just sort of more NFL interest for top Canadians. So how does that impact when you're sort of looking at those maybe top 10 to 15 guys, the fact that they may not be around for a couple of years, but if they do come back, they're probably going to be sort of real impact players?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely through the process, you definitely weigh that, whether you use some of your relationships in the NFL and try to get a gauge through them and the players' agents and even the players themselves, just kind of what their future might look like down there, and try to make the best decision from there. Obviously, you get to know the players, and if they do have an opportunity, you'll be excited for them. But come draft day, you do have to weigh it a little bit. But at some point, I mean, we're gonna want to draft players that can come in and compete for our team.
And I guess for Coach O, sitting out here in Calgary, I'm looking at this East Division, and there's no bad teams, that's for sure. How are you expecting it to be a really sort of competitive, grind of a year?
Yeah, but we would expect that any year, and that's just not a blanket statement. So, I believe that this time of year, after free agency, especially, Danny, that, everybody got better on paper. They really did. And to start predicting, which division and how tough it's going to be, that's for the outside in. But I just always look at it the same every year, and that is that everybody got better. They, and everybody might not have got what they wanted, but everybody's better on paper, and they're going to look to do that through the draft too. So everybody is going to have a great shot. I'm excited about the season in general. I just know this, that every year there's 3 teams that don't make the playoffs, that don't have a chance to win a championship. And so the first goal is always to not be one of those teams.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denny. Next question, Justin Dunk, go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm curious how much of a surprise it was to see Jaguar Davis go down the QEW, just because it seemed like he was so comfortable there in his time as a Ticat.
I mean, players earn the right, to be free, right? So when they get that opportunity, there's always a chance that you can lose players in free agency. So I wouldn't say that it was a surprise, because if a player gets to free agency, anything can happen. And demands, their lives, everything changes, right? It's not simply, I know from the outside in, it's always just about football or the team or wherever. Like, a player like Jaguar is going to start no matter where he goes, right? So, he's a player that we coveted. That's why he was here, right? So I'm never surprised, because everybody's got different reasons for wanting to change atmospheres, right?
Yeah, and for Speedy B, what was kind of the process that led to you parting ways with him, and what's it going to be like to see him wearing double blue? I think for a lot of Ticats fans, that's going to be a little different.
Yeah, we've already addressed the Speedy B situation. Utmost respect for Brandon. It will be different. I'll answer part 2 for sure there, Justin, that it'll be different to see Speedy in the double blue. I guess we're going to see them a lot, meaning Toronto this year. But, the relationships go beyond on the field. I love Brandon and his family as people. And I can't tell you, I'll better be able to tell you the emotion and the feeling when I actually see him warming up on the other side of the field.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next question, Chris O'Leary, please go ahead.
Hey guys, Orlando, you've had a lot of change in the organization over the off season. What do you want the interview room to look like this weekend at the Combine?
What do I want it to look like?
Yeah, like just in terms of how you approach those interviews. I know sometimes teams really like to grill the players. Other times it kind of just feels like a standard sort of job interview. Like what kind of atmosphere do you want when the prospects come in?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'll say that first and foremost that Drew does a fantastic job, and that's not because he's sitting here. He's run the draft since I've been here in Hamilton. So from that standpoint, nothing's going to change. And I think just as a general statement, we're trying to create an environment where they're comfortable, where the person can be their most authentic self, right? Not something that they're trying to impress or something like that. So we're trying to get an honest eval on them the same way they are on us, So we're not trying to trick anybody or this is their time to shine. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for them. So that's just an overview. As far as, the details and the fine fixtures, we always keep those in house, but we want them to be comfortable. We understand that there's nerves that are always there to be had, but we're prepared, and, we have a process that we'll go through, and it probably won't waver a lot from what it's been in the past.
And just my last question is for Drew. You've done this for a long time. You have looked at Canadian talent for a number of years. Maybe a bit of a broad question, but how would you assess this draft class?
Yeah, I think we're excited about it. I think there's some talented players kind of in each position group. So I think it's going to be a great draft.
All right, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
One last one. Justin, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know if you've actually been asked this, but since you've been promoted, what's that been like? And there was some of the rumors around Washington and maybe even Fresno State, but how much did that promotion play into you staying in Hamilton, and how did that whole process play out?
Yeah, it's been a lot different, to be honest with you. And that's mainly because we've had people move on in the organization. And that's what happens when you have great people, right? From our strength and conditioning coach to our head therapist, to our director of communications, our director of football operations. So from that way, I would pat the guy on the back who's next to me here. Like the two of us really had to roll up our sleeves. The building was kind of bare, to be honest with you, Justin, in the beginning, until we were able to get Ed and Spencer on board. And I've just been proud of how everybody's rallied, but it's definitely been different. It hasn't just been being a head coach, but the specifics would be just in part because we had some movement within our organization.
So does that mean now that you have final say, like you're sort of a GM head coach, so to speak, like you would see in other organizations, or how would you categorize it?
Yeah, we understand how we're going to operate from within, and we don't feel like we have to divulge how we go through our decision and process making to the public. We have a great working environment. We're very transparent, and we really have a transformational environment, Justin, to be honest with you. Where we're collaborative with it. So, we're very comfortable with where we're at. And the bottom line is we're 3 months new into this. That's basically where we're at. So the best is ahead of us. And like I had mentioned earlier, surrounded with great experience. And we make decisions collectively in our organization.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, one last one. Dave Naylor, please go ahead. You're on mute.
Yeah, unmuting myself there. Guys, Jamie Newman, the quarterback you signed out of Wake Forest, who I guess was the Eagles last summer. What can you tell us about him? And is the number 2 job a competitive situation in training camp, or is that Matthew Schultz?
You want to talk about Jamie? I can refer to the other.
Yeah,
sure.
We'd had Jamie on the neg list for a little while, and we're excited to get him. He's an athletic kid, good arm strength, good football intelligence. So we're excited to add him to the group next season.
And I'll just add that I've been on Zoom. Tommy, I was on the Zoom call with Jamie, and seems like a great guy. Student, wants to learn what we're doing already. To answer your question directly, David, there's competition at every position, right? So that's what we try to create. So I don't think there's any secret that Dane Evans will be the guy that'll run out there with our A group at the start of training camp, 100%. But after that, there's competition at every position. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And we also have Jalen Morton signed. And so it'll be a highly competitive camp, and I'm looking forward to it. What I'm not looking forward to, Dave, to be honest with you, is trying to figure out how you divide all those reps up amongst all the competition we're going to have in camp. And that's not just at the quarterback spot, but that's at a lot of places. That's always the toughest part.
Thanks. Just one more, and this is not so much a question about Trey Ford as it is a question about making the transition to the professional level at quarterback out of youth sports. Like, we've seen a number of Canadian quarterbacks get some opportunity of late, but most of them are guys that have played in the NCAA. Trey's trying to make this leap, from youth sport. What are the challenges for a quarterback, do you think, coming from youth sport to the CFL, or in his case, trying to get interest from the National Football League?
Touch on that, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe from a schematic standpoint, he's going to have to learn a different playbook, and maybe go through game plans that change from week to week, and then also just the game speed is going to be a lot different. Just in terms of his timing, anticipation, all those kinds of things, throwing different routes. So I think it's definitely going to be an adjustment, but you look forward to seeing how he does it. We had him a number of years ago, I think 2019, through the youth sports QB program and training camp. So we got to know him through that, and he's had some experience throwing to CFL players already. So
I would just say it'd be just game speed also, right? There's but that's an adjustment for a lot of players coming from youth sports, right? It's just it's nothing against them. It's just it's hard to be prepared for that, right?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Good luck. See you.
Thank you.